All right. So I realized we are in the third hour in the training cave with tiny little windows of how beautiful it is outside this room. Right? Heading towards the lunchtime, pre-lunch energy slump. Try to make some of my images a little more quirky, a little off, keep it interesting, keep us clipping along, right? And you're hanging out for email. Who here loves email? It's the front table, of course. It's the front table, right? Right? But it's this thing, and we'll talk about why it's still important, why it can still be useful. Again, as one of your options. You know, we got some folks in here, it's like, man, we don't really want to focus there. Other people, yes, this is still like a rock solid place. Either way, hopefully there's still some practical stuff. Like I said, last year, I gave you what are, I think, really solid frameworks. They're pretty useful coming year round. But I think wanted to focus this year on like super tactical for this particular event, especially because your brain is like slowly not absorbing as much. So we'll keep it super tactical. I'm going to rip through these. Yay, support. You know me, I've been here before this morning, NTEN. Great. This is mostly for people that are just looking at the slides afterwards so they can still know who this guy was. So similar, right? Talk about sort of email around the event, continuing engagement after the event. This is always the thing that makes me so sad. It's give more 24, but like the party doesn't have to stop on the 22nd, right? Neither does your relationship. So we've got a plan for how you can continue. Use this as a jump off point for continued engagement. Tools and resources, wrap it up. I'll get out of here in time for some lunch and sunshine, right? So I'll do a little bit here, like why email still matters, right? You gotta make this case, it's still a valuable thing. So this is sort of like in general. So this isn't even just specific to the nonprofit sector, but it shows the trend of sort of like open rates on email. So I think the useful thing there is when we talk nonprofit space, you can typically add somewhere between 5 and 10% on top of industry standard stuff, right? Why is that? Because people love us, because we're great, so they're more likely to open this stuff up. Which is showing, right? I mean, there's been some fluctuation, pretty consistent. But when you compare this to some of the other platforms and tools that are out there, right? Like, anybody know, what's the typical reach percentage on your average Facebook post? Anyone know where it's at now?
What's the average?
Right? 3%. So say you got 100 people following your page, you post that thing, there's only a chance that 3 of those people even had a chance to see the thing, right? And to be honest, call it what it is, right? Facebook was always meant to be an advertising platform. It's fully matured. It used to be that you could hit 20, 25, 30% on your reach, your organic reach, right? And as they made their boosting posts and their ads more robust, it was amazing. Oh my gosh, suddenly I'm only getting 3% reach. God, if only I could find a way to pay to get me back up to that 30%, right? So this is still something that's here. It's something that's consistent, right? All of us who don't like email, which is, I think almost all of us raise our hands, right? How many of us still open email? How many of you have opened and read emails today? How many are reading email right now? Yeah, see? We got a few honest folks. Let's see you back there. Right? It is so ingrained. It is such a part of our flow that it's habitual. So it's this commonplace. But what's the other thing about email that is different from, say, social media or even a website? I mean, where's it come from? The clicks. There's some good analytics. There's some reliable stuff. There's some great benchmarks. We've been doing it a long time. Like, there's some pretty great resources, some pretty good tips. The other thing is that's very different from social and things like that I think fits with a lot of your target audiences. Yeah, it's one-to-one from the user's perspective, right? I might fire off an email to 10,000 people, but when it arrives on the other end, did it come to 10,000 people? No. It came to me. And why did it come to me? Because CAN spam laws ensured that you could only send it to me because I told you you could, or I somehow implied through a relationship that you could, right? But either way, if I really don't want to hear from you, you can't send that to me. So it does feel very personal. So there's one of your first little tips, right? You are never writing an email to more than one person. even if you're writing and sending it to thousands of people, right? So the voice is always like, I am writing to you, because that's how it's received on the other end, right? So again, it's remained consistent, and it's still there. And it doesn't matter. You add another social platform out there. There's Snapchat. There's WizKid. I don't know, whatever's coming out next week, right? Email has stayed consistent as it's part of our lives, part of these things that we do, and these ways that we communicate. There's that case, like why it's still relevant. Email's not dead, whether you wish it was or not. So the other thing I like to highlight, and again, I won't spend a ton of time because we only have 60 minutes and your brains are pretty fried. But the mobile context, this is another thing that has dramatically shifted in just the last 5 years, right? How, even just in your own personal usage, how many people here say you check email more often on your phone than you do on like a desktop, right? How many of you do the thing where you do triage through your phone and then you come back to your desktop later to like actually open the thing, right? Right? Why is that? Oh, it's so easy and it feels so good to see it on the phone and be like, crap, delete, gone, star. All right, leave that one unread so I know I got to get back to it, right? So this is the experience that's happening in email. So again, this is like general industry standard. To be honest, I can find studies and everything that go everywhere from this 55% of email all the way up to like 75% is first opened on a mobile device. Now there's a difference again between open the first time and then open the second time where action is taken. So just trying to highlight that when we talk email, it really is pretty important to be mobile first in your thinking about this. Our messages, our content, like all of this stuff being built around a mobile experience. If you blow it out to a desktop, you don't really catch any negatives, right? It's just that much cleaner, that much clearer, that much more concise, right? So this is really helpful. Who here knows if your email templates are responsive? A couple folks. How many people here know their email's mobile friendly? A few folks. How many people are like, I have no idea what this guy's talking about or what those words are, right? So there's a few things. Responsive, it truly does change depending on the device. And again, we say mobile, we're not just talking smartphones, right? There's a whole world of tablets that exist in this range between your phone and your desktop. And some of these desktops, right? Anybody here have a monitor that's like 20 inches or wider, your second monitor or something, right? I mean, the spectrum we cross is everything from a couple inches wide to like monster beasts on there. So when you're designing this, you got to keep in mind that people are hitting the spectrum, but more and more of it are starting on a smaller and smaller screen. Right? How many folks here have opened up and looked at your email communications on a smartphone or tablet? Most folks? That's good. Was it because you wanted to, or was it because someone was like, oh God, this thing's busted, you should go check it out? Right? So it's good. At least people are starting to think about it, right? So I just want to highlight that and make sure it's part of it, and then share a couple of quick mobile design tips. Again, there's some links to resources. This could be a whole, full day of training, but a couple of the quick ones, right? Keep the copy concise, get to the point. Think about, I've seen some of your newsletters. Some of you have signed me up. I've signed up for some of them, right? What does that email look like in there? Is it concise? How many links do you have in your email? And I can say this because at NTEN, we send out lots of emails. Some have lots of links on purpose, but some of them, it's like, if we tuck 3 or 4 calls to action in there, we're our own worst competitor, right? So if someone opens that up and their first step is always triage, are you making it fast to like scrap or keep or actually take action? So these are some examples, again, not specifically nonprofits, but I thought they did such an excellent job of illustrating like that's the whole email. There's no scrolling down. There's the thing. There's an image. There's a little message that tells me why I should click the button. Right? So if I'm doing triage on my phone, I'm like, this is so easy and I'm here. I might as well just click through and see what's going on. So this also tails into the next thing, right? In your email, if someone's starting from a mobile device, are you sending them to places that also work on a mobile device? Right? This is an amazing mobile-friendly email, and I'm going to click this thing, and I'm going to go, oh, I got to scroll back and forth, or the screen, right? You know, if it's starting mobile and you send them to a place that is now a bad experience, right? You're not converting them to the action all the way through. So it's a whole nother deal. I know you can't all go out and be like, well, cool, I'll just get my responsive website set tomorrow. But any content, your social stuff, what you put on your website, starting to think, this is the lens with which people are consuming it, right? So another one. So one thing to note about mobile devices is even more so than on desktops, people don't always have images showing by default, right? Why is that? Because your big, beautiful images are eating up my data, people, right? And I'll decide to turn it on if it's compelling enough. So simple tricks there, right? One thing, and some retailers do this, and I still think it's a terrible idea, like the whole email is just one giant clickable image. Well, on my phone, it looks like your email's broken. So, but the alt text, right? Alternative text. This thing when you upload an image, it asks you to put it there. If you put, I mean, you don't have to just put like 2 words in there. You can put a full sentence that could also be compelling that would say, this is maybe why you'd want to turn the images on here, or maybe you'd still want to click through, right? So if you include images, don't skip the alt text because there's more and more people that aren't seeing that beautiful image, right? Yeah, so you can have an image. Also make sure there's like a link maybe in a little bit of the copy or something like that. Just make sure all those paths are open and available. And I love this one. Leave room to click. Leave room for big fat fingers to click, right? You see a paragraph of text. It's got 3 links in it. Oh my God, it's like whack-a-mole. I think I'm hitting this one and this next one, and now I'm off to this. I was like, I thought I was going somewhere else, right? How long do you think I'm willing to play whack-a-mole in your email? Ooh, you're going to get 1 round, and I'm like, I'm done. And in fact, the next time it shows up, I feel so, my pride is so stung from losing whack-a-mole last time, I might not even open it this time, right? Space, let things breathe, right? That green, that's a button. It's not an image, right? So it's colorful, it's clear, it still draws attention. I can hit it with my finger. So obviously, there's a whole lot more, but there's some really simple ones that, again, very often I see just totally get ignored. I don't know how often those links are stacked together in text. Upcoming events. It's a bulleted list. That's a minefield for my fingers, right? I just don't click. So again, trying to keep us moving through some stuff. So around the event.
Did you say limit how many links? 2, 3?
Oh, if you're talking about a call to action, right? There's different stuff. You got a newsletter, you're sharing multiple things, updates, like that's fine. If you really want someone to do something, just one. There needs to be, I mean, honestly, if you're trying to convince me this is the most important thing in the world, don't put a second thing after it. That is the most important thing in the world as well, right? This also helps you, right? If you're cutting your copy and you're keeping it to one thing, it's real clear how I can help you. You give me 2 or 3 or 4 things going on, I mean, well, I could do that, or I'm kind of in it. All right, I'm offline, I got to get back to work, right? So I think that's important for your call to action type emails. But again, not all of them are that. Some of them like sharing an impact story or something like that. So different email, you could certainly have different things. I mean, it'd be absurd to say your email can only have 1 link anywhere in it. Because then legally it would be the unsubscribe button at the bottom and you'd be sort of out of luck. So clearly you can have a few more.
I don't know if there's an answer to this, but if you have multiple volunteer events, you're doing, over the summer you've done 3 events.
Yeah.
And you could, that would be a call to action to volunteer, you could send out 3 snapshot type ones separately, over a period of time, or you can send a new newsletter that has all of them. Do you know if it's more effective to have a, because you're saying not having more call to actions, but then the separate snapshots mean more emails are in.
Well, what I would do in that case, what's the call to action? You want them to get to a spot where if they're interested in volunteering, they can do that, right?
Right.
So send them to a single page on your website that says, here's these volunteer things. Also, There may be these other things you didn't even know you wanted. So you could have the details for 3 separate events, so I know, hey, I'm not on vacation, but one link, one call to action. And then you also set yourself up to cross-promote within there. So this is the other thing. We're like, we need a separate email, a separate for every single, it's like, that's why you have a website. It's your hub. Just work at sending people there, and then let your website do what it was intended to do. Don't make your email serve the job of your website. Yeah, absolutely, that's what I would do. One clear button that's just like, engage, be involved. And I'm like, that's me, I want to be involved. And then I can figure out all the different ways.
So if you're doing an email blast from Outlook, would you advise us not to utilize our typical signature line where it may link to Facebook, Twitter, what have you, where then there's all these attachments to an email?
Yeah, my first thing I'd say, never send a blast out of Outlook.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many risks with spam flags and getting blacklisted, deliverability, all that kind of stuff. And I'll share, I mean, there are so many really high quality, completely free tools you could get going with. And out of your Outlook, I mean, if you turn on the read receipt button, you could maybe track if someone's, but like you're missing all the analytics, all the visual, like, just don't ever send it out of Outlook.
You use constant contact.
Yep, constant contact, yeah. So I mean, there's stuff like that. So for the event, again, we're short on time. 7-day plan, something that's just super tactical, super clear that you can sort of walk away with here, right? So, day 1, announcement, save the date. Obviously, you may have already been talking about this and sort of starting to tell your story in social and all that. But honestly, how often do you save a date close to something, right? If it's a major wedding, like you might do it a few months out. But when it's like an event in your community, how often do you like lock that in on your calendar? About a week out, right? You get 2-3 weeks out. A lot of times people are like, well, I mean, I got some options. It's good to know what's in the mix, right? But if I'm asking you 4 months out, hey, you want to come over to my house for barbecue on a Friday? You're like, in October? I don't know. Talk to me in October, right? So here's a great way to start. And so again, simply sending out emails like, saves the date. First thing in my head is, why should I save it for you? You could be saving it for this other thing, right? So simple things to include, obviously when it's happening, but what is going on? It's like, it's an incredible matching opportunity. Double your funds, all this, it's great, it's big excitement, we'll have a big event downtown, right? And why you're doing it. Because this is where I see the opportunity for us to overlap what we care about. Oh, you're doing it, and I'm kind of into that too. I care about that issue, so yeah, let's do this thing together. Let's make a date, not just save the date. So day 2.
Is that countdown thing again? Is that an easy widget to just add?
That was me just stealing something from the Give More 24 website. I was trying to see how many folks had actually visited yet. So yeah, it really varies on your website and all that kind of stuff. So day 2, story. Okay, we've given them logistics. Let's make it personal. Let's make it emotional. Let's give them that video. Let's give them some info snaps, right? And again, it's real sort of to the point. This is about the story and why you should care. Reminder, hey, you already saved the date. Goal setting. So a lot of times this will come from executive leadership, something like that, right? Sort of a voice of the organization. You lay out there that you've got a goal. Because that's the thing that, as a community member, I get to be a part of, right? Like, I already support your cause and your issue, but I need to care about this one-day event. Did my mic just die? Yeah. Mic is dead. I'll move to handheld then. It's all right. Get you some fresh batteries. I can be flexible. So, right, so I mean, I want this timely thing. I want this deadline. Okay, we got to get it done on this particular day. This is the goal that we're working towards. It also makes it super easy to illustrate what impact could be, right? It's only 25 bucks, but your 25 bucks is a step towards this thing. Not having your 25 bucks might keep us from reaching the goal, right? Let me share some ownership with you. I lost my clicker. Day 4. That was an animated GIF of Groot dancing, but I had to convert to PowerPoint, so there's no movement there. But this is building momentum, right? So we got logistics, we got some of that voice, add some of the fun. Like, this is gonna be fun. This is an exciting day, right? We're gonna make a huge amount of impact for our org in 24 hours. That's awesome. That doesn't happen every 24 hours, right? So this is a good time to sort of get that going, build the momentum. The day before, oh, you can get a copy of these slides too. So you don't have to have meticulous notes. You'll just get a digital copy. You know, the day before, again, it's nice to get that reminder to go, this is why Evite, all that kind of stuff, sends you the reminder the day before. Remember, I know you were thinking of going and buying that new barbecue tonight, but remember, tomorrow you could donate that same money and double it. Right? And also sort of this last thing to jump into it. So this is the big day. So all these others, you're sending an email per day, right? You're building this email. On the day of the event, like, it is happening. It's real, and I think it's okay to send multiple emails, right? This is 24 hours of excitement. So you got this flow, right? We're kicking it off. We're making progress. Oh, we're so close. If only you gave maybe another 10 bucks. Maybe you got one more friend to give. And then we get a sort of like, yes, we reached our goal. Big excitement, right? That we all get to be a part of there. So I think this is helpful because, again, a lot of times people the morning of, they'll send out the email and be like, it's here, it's giving day. And then I have no idea how the day went for you, right? Because maybe I didn't donate. I was thinking about it, but I didn't quite do it. But because I didn't donate, I didn't get your follow-up emails. I didn't get your impact, all that, right? So I was just like, oh, I hope that went well for you, I guess. So this is really great, especially if you've got live events going, right? It's like, drop in a picture, you know, we're here at the park today, come on down. There's a picture of it, and I'm like, you're right, it looks so sunny and happy. I'm gonna get out of my house, I'm gonna go to the park. And so a lot of these, where I see these flows, right, these 7-day plans, day 7 is the day of the event. I think that's crazy, because as you'll see in the next section, right, this is one moment in your overall flow of connecting with people. So I think day 7 is the day after with the follow-up and the thank you and all that kind of stuff. Because again, like, and we've talked about in previous years and stuff, but how incredibly important it is that you are saying thank you and you are not saying, here's your tax deductible receipt. Right? That is a horrible sort of friendship. Imagine you did come to my barbecue and then, you know, the next day I just sent you this email and was like, hey, here's a receipt for the hamburgers you brought. Cool, I'll see you next year. Maybe you bring some steaks instead. I know, that feels horrible, right? So this, I mean, a very genuine thank you. And you'll see in lots of places where people really love to piggyback the next ask on top of your thank you. And it leaves such a sour taste in my mouth. I'm a big fan of like, say thank you and don't add any buts or ands or nothing because it completely invalidates the thank you, right? There'll be time to ask for more later, right? So yeah, so there's some just like real straightforward day 7. And again, I got a couple resources that also give you some other examples. You know, there's all kinds of different, you know, there's a story email, letter from director. There's a couple of other like types of emails that are out there. And so it's good because again, you fit what works for your organization. Like NTEN, it's actually in our value statements that we're joyous, and we're a little irreverent, and like this is part of us, our voice, and our culture. This is not the case for every organization, and that's totally fine, right? If you work with primarily doctors, very professional associations, and things like that, right? Like you might be pretty buttoned up, and that's totally fine. If that's your work and that's your audience and your voice, be absolutely true to that, right? So there's some other examples in the resources that can help point us to that. This is what I mean, slightly quirkier images, because I know things are getting hard here in the afternoon. So there's your day, but what I always think is this massive missed opportunity is, yes, we're looking for some donations, we're looking for matching funds, but honestly, this is also probably one of your best opportunities to grow that email list throughout the year. Special events, things that are exciting. You got people that are getting friends and family to come and donate. What do we all say as nonprofits? Oh, we would love to reach new people. That is one of the huge benefits that comes out of events like this, is you finally get a chance to connect, even if it's a small introduction to people who previously weren't in your community, right? So what do you do with it? You just have them over, have that once, that one day, and then they're gone, and then you're like, oh, next year I wish we could bring, well, I guess we already had them, and then we lost them. So now we're actually trying to just recover people that we had instead of continuing to build year over year, right? Huge opportunities. So think about this. Like I'm pretty sure you guys get all the donation information, emails, all that from people that give to your pages, right? But other simple things, like look at this physical piece of paper on the desk, right? If you have an in-person event, is there any way for those people to sign up, join your email list? Whether it's a physical piece of paper you transfer later, do you have one of these little $100 tablets? And someone says, oh, I could just real quick, easy, done, already in the system. No data entry errors of putting periods in wrong places and now emails are lost, right? So think about where you can incorporate this as part of your strategy. And that social sharing that happens ahead of time. Want to know more specifics as we get closer to the date? You can try and hope Facebook serves it up. But you just sign up for our email list and I guarantee it'll come through. And then probably 35% of you will open it. But we will get it to you, right? They're primed for action. These people have already engaged with you, either at your event in person, they've either donated. Somehow these people have taken a step with you, right? A lot of times it's at the flirt level, right? I gave a $10 donation. Maybe because I'm broke, maybe because I want to see what you do with my 10 bucks before I decide if I'm going to give you 200, right? Do I get a receipt? Or do I get a thank you? Or do I get an invite to the next opportunity to engage? Right? So this is awesome because this is also like, this is what we all want, right? We want people to do the thing. These people have already told you they want to do the thing. So imagine someone's like, they come, I would love to volunteer for your organization. You're like, yeah, right on. I'll see you next year. Right? It's a total missed opportunity that actually creates a negative experience rather than a positive relationship one. The inaction is an action, and it will have consequences one way or another. So be strategic about how you handle those opportunities. So I just want to share a little bit. So oftentimes they're called welcome series or just email series, because as you'll see in a second, you can have different types of these sorts of things. Anybody here use like a welcome series? Is nobody here? Awesome. Let's see, they're good or I've just completely lost you all. Even my regulars in the back are not raising hands anymore. So why have a series, right? Someone's on our list, great. Let's just start sending them the stuff we sent them. Think about this in an offline context. Again, I like barbecues. We're heading towards lunch, right? Imagine you and I just met. Like, hey, how's it going? My name's great. Here's my email address. And then I gave you my newsletter. And it was like 14 different stories about everything that's going on and everything that's happening. By the way, I need your credit card. Right? That's a pretty tough way to get into it. I mean, anybody had this where you're at a training event, you're at something, yeah, chit-chat, exchange business cards, and all of a sudden I'm getting newsletters. Right? This always happens. And what do you do with newsletters that you get subscribed to that way? Unsubscribe unless you feel particularly stung, and then you hit the spam button. You're like, that wasn't even an implied consent. I don't know how I got on this list, right? So this gives a way to, based on our interaction, I ease you into how it is we're going to have a relationship, what to expect, right? So rather than getting blasted with the next thing from NTEN, right? It could be promotion for a conference, it could be a newsletter, it could be member news. It's like, I came to one training. I don't. You're pushing everything on me now, right? So first thing to know, these are automated because you want it to go like, you want everyone to have a similar experience. So you have 2 to 4 emails and they go out 1 per week, right? And they don't move onto your main list until they are done with your welcome series. So it gives you a chance to work through a flow, establish a bit more of a relationship, before they jump into your full force of communications. Or as you'll see, it gives you an opportunity to have them identify which of your communications they actually want, right? So automated is super important because nobody in the world in this room has the time to say, Jamie signed up on Thursday. So next Thursday, I'm going to send Jamie to send up. Oh man, she signed up on Friday. So Friday, I got to send, like, you can't do it. That would be insane. No one would ever do it. So if you're working with any sort of bulk email platform, Constant Contact, MailChimp, Emma, like the functionality is probably already sitting in there for you to create automated messages. So the good news is you can write this next week when you got all this time well ahead of events and all that. And then you just know that they go into that queue. Everyone has the same experience. They know what to expect, all that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan of do the work now, and then it will do its own thing. Let the tools work for me instead of me being a slave to the technology. So yeah, again, it's about relationships. So give you, again, this idea, within Give More 24, right, you want sort of a welcome thing, probably for new donors, people not in your system. But you can create a series for all sorts of contexts, right? We want to do a re-engagement campaign. Cool, so everyone who has not opened one of our emails in the last 2 years, we're going to send them something, and in the subject line, we're going to announce a possible prize. Guaranteed. People will open that thing up, right? Then you get them into a series. So that, relapse donors, major donors, right? So this is, again, a framework that can extend beyond this one little event. So here's just an example. Again, this isn't like, this is absolutely the thing for everybody. But it's sort of a thank you welcome series for first-time donors after Give More 24. First email they get, it's just it's like a welcome, thank you, and inspire. Thank you for donating. We reached our goal, which means we're going to be able to, open another house for our group home programs. We're going to be able to serve 600 more meals this year than we did last year. Right? That thing I'm a part of, and you help me feel good about it. The next one, it's about you. Feel free to ask a question, right? So now that we're talking and we're chatting, what is it you are actually interested in? Maybe you should follow this link and come update your interests, right? We got 5 different things we send out email on. You can tell me the 2 you want, and then that's all I'm going to send you, right? Again, it's like the power of segmentation. You tell me what you want, I give you that, and you're super excited. It shows I was listening. It shows I'm responsive, right? The next one in the series, impact story. Oh, so we said we were going to be able to get that new group home going. Well, guess what? We're on our way to picking the new location. It's like, oh, it went from this high level possible impact to like real things that are happening in my community. And then the next is maybe a big win, and then you start tucking in the call to action, right? And then also in the sort of third or fourth, you can start setting expectations. We love, maybe in this one, what interests you? Here's a chance for you to lay out what your different communications are about. Our newsletters have this in them. Our action alerts have this in them. It's like, okay, so I understand a little more about what you're about and maybe where we can connect. So then they can go and they can pick that sort of stuff. So now we're going to do a quick little activity. Because like I said before, I can't help but notice nonverbal. We got a lot of shoulders back. We are leaning a little bit back in those chairs. So there are index cards on the table, and I'll probably have to come around and drop a few more just to make sure folks have them. But this should be great because it looks like nobody in this room has a welcome series. So this is something that should be helpful for everyone. So the idea is take 3 index cards, and you're going to identify basically 3 types of emails, and then give it a title and a short description. Right? So the reason these are index cards, you can sort of move around and you play with it. Maybe if you're super ambitious, pick up 4 cards. See how that goes. Again, it really can be anything from 2 to 4 emails that can make up a series, right? If you've never done this and you're like, oh, this feels overwhelming, maybe just start with 2, right? But start to get an idea. So we'll spend a couple minutes on this. And like I said, I'll swing around with more index cards to put on people's tables, but let's use your brains a little bit. I'll share a tiny bit more information and we'll get you out for sunshine and food. So I'll come around with more cards here. Sure. open this one up.
I'll just take one more. And I'll
You
just
guys-
put it back.
Oh yeah, I'll switch your battery. Like, cool, I'll walk around the room while you try to switch your battery.
Oh, on this last slide. Oh, that's the one.
Yep, sounds like we're good. More cards needed over here. Put a stack there.
So are you like a sequence series, like you would start out with one and then build order or just
So I had a question up front here. Someone was asking, am I talking about sequential emails or just like a bundle of emails? And so the key with this is that it is absolutely sequential, right? You are creating a flow, you are guiding an experience, and so you're picking specific messages with that in mind, that it's eventually getting to where they feel sort of onboarded. Does that make sense? So if you pick a longer series, obviously it's easier to move things and switch order. If you only have two, you're not really switching the order. It's your first one, welcome intro, and then like hand off to the rest of it.
second one where it's like where they issue the person addresses what you want to go in? Are you thinking like so you would have already kind of in advance for communication around focus on different elements. So you just listing out these are service areas where you are interested in or
Yeah. Yeah, so another question is, like, in the example I gave, the second one, which is more about you, you know, this comes down to, again, what your context is. If you don't currently have segmentation within your email list, you don't have interest categories, right? Don't use that. But it's like, what are the things that you want to know about people that I would like to share with you? So, for example, are you interested in volunteering? Here's a link where you could go and do stuff about that. Like, are you interested in events? You should visit the events that, you know, so it is a bit, you know, depending on where you're at with your other stuff, try and make it fit with that. But the idea being, you know, it's like any conversation or relationship. I already kind of know about you, and it feels like there's a relationship if you take a moment to ask anything about me, right? So whatever works for you, don't feel like, well, I can't do this thing because we don't have segmented lists based on behavioral. So, you know, like whatever you're at, just finding a way to be intentional about easing people into your communication. Is that helpful? Okay. Yeah. Nobody else has them. Let's come back. Any other questions? Everyone's checking their Instagram now. I know you are. You can check it. It's okay. You're trying to hold back. If, you know, again, this is campaign sort of stuff that's separate from your regular communications. So you can think about if you want people to sign up ahead of time to say, hey, I'm really interested in Get More 24, that could be what you send to people that have asked to specifically get updates around that event. if your general list, like blasting your entire list with what could be 9, 10 emails in a single week, yeah, it could be a killer. So again, think about it. Yeah. So you can think about what works. So maybe you take 3 of those days of the 7. Just so that that week should feel more exciting and more engaging than a typical week. But yeah, if 7 is too much, don't do 7. Yeah, you should feel okay saying, no, Ash, no. In my tools, I'll share a couple of resources and platforms. Yeah, so many landmines. So I'll share some resources there. All right, let's give this, it's like maybe 1 more minute. It sounds like the room's getting quiet. I don't hear snoring yet, but we are getting close. All right, so I'll keep it clipping along, keep our energy up a tiny bit. So after this activity, I want to see if anyone wants to share a little bit. Here's some sort of question prompts, you know. What about this was hard? What about it was easy? Or what about it seemed just like, that's impossible? Is there anything anyone wants to share about the actual process of thinking about or doing this? Or even you just want to say, hey, here's 3 I came up with. Yeah. Volunteers or?
I had a question.
Oh, well played. Well played.
You know, there's a tipping point at which you can create email fatigue.
Yeah, no, this was a comment by someone else who said, like, man, if I send that like 9 emails to my community in 1 week, they'll all unsubscribe. So that's like, here's a good sort of like, here's a sort of out of the box approach you could take. So there's a couple things about it, right? So if ahead of time, say you've got a list or community big enough, you could say, if you're really interested in this particular event, just like sign up here or check this box and let us know. And then you could do that with that sort of particular group of people. If you're a small org and you're like, email list is like that, like we have a thing and it's called email list. And when I hit send, that's what it goes to everybody. That many emails in a week might be brutal. So it's like, well, take a 7-day plan and cut it down to 3. It's the save the date, announce, get excitement at the beginning. Hey, the day is happening, cool. And then you know that thank you email is, you should probably, you know, you could send that out to everyone as well. Because even if they didn't give, you still want to help them celebrate the wins, right? So it's like, that's too many, cut it down to 3. But the main thing is trying to get people away from, I sent an email at 8 o'clock the morning of the event, was like, today's the day to give us some money and it'll be matched. And that's it. So any progress towards just doing that. But again, absolutely fit it with your community. I don't want you to try and engage in an event and lose 50% of your list because they all unsubscribe. So depending where you're at with segmentation, all that, adjust your strategies too. Anyone else?
Well, I had 2 different email series ideas. One was for donors, but the first one was for subscribers our newsletter. Because generally, for our organization, the only emails that ever go out generally are the newsletter.
Yeah.
So, but we can do constant contact and look at opens and do a message just to those people who have opened that's basically say, you know, something like, thank you for being a regular reader of our newsletter, and then just go to them with a series that tries to learn more about them. So that I just started there. Even a 2-series email series is useful, just so it's not such an abrupt transition. And this about you, I mean, it might not be so sophisticated where you're like, volunteer, da, da, da. You're like, I don't know, we're like 2 people at our organization and we got this one thing we do. It might simply be, thanks for signing up in our newsletter. We're always interested in sort of serving up the content we know people want to know about. Let us know why you signed up and what you're hoping to get.
And then you're like, oh, now we got, like, people can just respond to the email, and now we actually have our community saying, I would love to hear more about this in your newsletter, right? Because this is always a question for us. Like, we've only got capacity to write one newsletter once a month. So if I spent my time on stuff people actually told me they wanted to read, I'd get a much better sort of result out of all that anyway. So again,
it's hard because we have such a broad audience, because we have people that are, politicians, civic leaders, down to individual interested people.
Yep.
And I'd love to also, we'd love to also send out like a poll. What are you interested in? What kinds of things would you like to receive? But again, I really appreciate that, that concern expressed here about inundating people with emails. I just don't know what to do about it.
yeah, hit the right level. And to be honest, some organizations send out a newsletter once a quarter. That fits with their capacity. It fits with their community. Some people send it out every 2 weeks. So again, like, do what's right for your organization. What's tucked under there, though, is like, make sure you actually listen. Because sometimes it's not what your community wants. You're like, I don't know, we just felt like sending it once a quarter. It's like, we actually lost people because your community was looking for once a month. But again, all of this is like tips and resources. It's a framework, but you got to put your own style, your own paint. You got to make your own organization. Absolutely. So I'll keep us clipping along. So some tools and resources. So we already have a couple of folks here that have mentioned they're probably sending out an Outlook, Gmail, right? It's all part of the Google Apps. I still have a hard time saying G Suite. That sounds like a goofy name. I don't know why they switched that. Right, some of the main concerns going out there, right? Deliverability. You send out email to a ton of people from personal email accounts. You just set off a whole number of other sort of spam flags. So the idea, like, there's a chance your email may not even make it to them. You do that a couple of times, and ISPs start saying, okay, so this domain name, I think they're a spammer. So there is the possibility to get what's called blacklisted. It's basically like the end of time. I mean, I knew an organization and they got blacklisted, and what it meant is that staff couldn't send an email to each other because it ultimately had to go out to the ISP, right? Internet service provider, before it can even come back to the other person. And if the ISP says, you're a spammer, I'm not letting your stuff through. I mean, the process to get unblacklisted is soul crushing.
Yes.
Sometimes it's easy to be like, well, I guess we switch our domain name because we're like, this is done. Trying to convince Comcast that, like, we're not bad people. They're like, we don't have time for this, right? So, plus you don't get analytics. You don't get all the web design tools that are built into a lot of these sort of things. So here's just a couple of examples, things that I like, right? MailChimp, Emma, these are great. They have sort of free entry, right? Like MailChimp, I think right now, currently, you can still send up to 12,000 emails per month on their free account. By the time you bump past those, it's like you should be paying a couple bucks a month because you're sending out, 20,000 emails in a month. Campaign Monitor is slightly more sophisticated in what you can do in terms of like custom designing templates and all that kind of stuff. They also have some really amazing functionality. But again, we could probably go around the room and I bet we could come up with 15 different bulk providers people are using. In the last 6 years, 5-6 years, like a lot of these have really improved. I'll just straight up say it. I'm not a huge fan of Constant Contact. I used to be when they were just an email platform. Then they added events. They added all these other things. And so what they've done is they've actually put their development into those others. Their email, definitely the reporting, some of the functionality has not evolved because they've taken the approach of we'll lock you into our suite of tools because then you'll never leave because it's such a pain to move everything.
We don't leave because we get paid by them monthly and it pays our overhead.
There you go. Well then,
That's the only reason.
I have no tips on that one. Take the money where it
We
comes.
need the money.
Right?
Where are
So,
you going to get paid to use it?
Constant Contact, because anyone that signs up and they pay their bill, then we get a kickback. It's kind of like Fred Meyer's or Amazon Smile.
oh, an
It's a
affiliate
check we never
program.
have to work for.
Right. So here's some examples. Again, I'm a huge fan of MailChimp, not just their tool and platform, but their customer service, their resources is awesome. The ability to integrate with other platforms and systems and all that. Litmus, they do have an email service thing, but a couple other things I really like there. They have spam tests. like you could talk about tips and tricks, but it's really nice to like put your content in there and be like, oh, we're scoring a few ticks higher than I thought we would on the old spam thing. And it's like, oh, shorten that subject line, tweak this a tiny bit. Oh, look, we're totally in the clear now. You know, this is why it's like only an open rate of 30%. It's like, well, I don't know. You might have had 20% of your list that like, it didn't even get out there. So again, they have some pricing stuff, but like spam tests and some of that I think can be super helpful. Here's the thing, we talk about email platforms, right? I send out an email, but where does it land? It lands in Outlook 2016. It lands in Office 365. It lands in Gmail. It lands in iOS Mail, right? So this is a great report that talks about what is supported in various email platforms. You know, because people are like, oh, let's do this cool styling thing. It's like, that's great, except it's going to break in, you know, at least a third of the email clients. So also looking in your current tools, a lot of them now will show you what are the highest ranking platforms people open it on. It's like, oh man, 60% of our people are in Gmail. The other half are Yahoo, I guess. Yahoo, Hotmail, they're still out there.
Yeah.
So this is just really helpful. Again, they get really in-depth about the various platforms, the things that are emerging, right? What happens with email when it shows up on an Apple Watch? What's happening with preview texts on a phone, which is not the same as your subject line, and it's not the same as your intro copy. It's this other thing that lives in the in-between that sort of snuck in the last few years, and most people don't really think about it or use it, right? So that's a really, really great resource. This other one that came out, again, Campaign Monitor, MailChimp, Litmus, they have just awesome resources, like just guides and things to give you tips and strategies and walk you through that are helpful no matter what platform you're on. It's not like, here's how you do the one unique thing on Campaign Monitor. It's like, here's how nonprofits can create campaign email. Super helpful, all 100% free. Classy, I know there's some other resources on the GiveMore24 website from Classy. They're a very knowledgeable company that do a lot of peer-to-peer fundraising. I think that one of the websites about storytelling worksheet. So again, Zoom. All right.
Looks like somebody else logged in.
Someone else is jumping in.
Some other admin.
We gotta ignore them. So there's another one. And again, like I said, there's different types of email series. There's one for donors. There's one for that. So just some more resources here to help give you some examples. And to wrap up, because we're definitely running out of air in the room. Some more goofy pictures because you're so close, you almost made it. Right? I know you've heard me say this. There's a reason I've said this 4 or 5 times, because no matter how many times I say it, I'm going to be blunt here. Half of you are going to leave this room and be transactional. I will cry a little tear. Because this is such a huge opportunity for you to do all the things we always say we want to do. Bring in new donors, bring new people into our community, make meaningful long-term connections. Especially when we get focused on a single-day event, we're all going to leave here and we're going to be like, oh my God, I got 200 emails, I got this list of 70. Like, it gets easy to get back in the weeds and focus, cool, that's a one-day thing. When it's done, I can check it off and I can get back to the like 800 other things I'm working on right now. So please just keep this in mind, right? They're not a piece of meat. They're community members. Ah, you like that connection? Doing the picture? Ah, I got a couple more of those for you here. So again, just one new thing. This is a whole lot. And some of you are, you get tired and you're already like, oh my gosh, you do this every year. You just give me so much crap to do and I'm already overwhelmed. Try one new thing and just try and get better at that new thing, incorporate that new thing, or improve on something you started last year, right? Little progress, get your little wins. We need it in the nonprofit space. Capture those emails, especially those of you doing in-person events or things like that that are happening on the day. You know, you'd be like, well, this great event, we had 200 people show up in the park. You're like, great, you have any idea who they are or how to just even follow up and say, thanks for coming tomorrow? I guess we put a flyer up in the park and hope they walk by, you know? Like, this is huge. Think about it. If you could add 200 people that are excited about your organization and start off with a really positive experience, What a boost for some people in the room. That's going to be like a third of your email list you just picked up. So don't miss out on that opportunity. You guys have all heard about this. Again, if someone wants to download the slides, I'm giving you about 5 minutes of your life. I'm happy to answer questions and all that. I have cards up here. Again, I am really not a fan of paper. You'll notice I've even cut down to just some index cards this year. I have business cards. Honestly, send me an email at ash@nten.org, and you'll get everything that's on this business card back in my email signature. If you don't want paper, I feel like you got to take it. But I would definitely encourage you to use me, NTEN in general. We have a really active online community space. We have like 50,000 people. It's just, they work at nonprofits and they do all this stuff. So some of that question, like, how do I ask other people, right? So a lot of it is just people coming in and saying, hey, I have this idea. Has anyone else done this? What do you think? Oh, we got to get someone to work on a website. Who's worked with someone they actually liked? Great. You know, so again, it's totally free. Anyone can come in and just use that community resource. We got a bunch of other stuff, but you're not hearing me unless it's to answer your specific questions.
It seems to me that this is all digital, but maybe at some point there might be even a bit more power by sending slow mail invite or slow mail.
Yeah, like some people have talked about, if honestly, the greatest impact you're going to get is when you overlap the two, right? Nobody here has a mission that's like, it is part of our mission to hit 60% open rate on our emails. No, that's ridiculous, right? There's something real in the world we want to see happen. And so ultimately, like you start to get sophisticated when digital and offline, in person, those things mesh. And then you really figure out how one supports the other, right? I got to send the email to remind the people to come to the thing in person. And then once they're there in person, then we have all these other things that we do. And I know the next time they're talking about like events on day of, I know that's part of day 2 that's happening next week, right? But yeah, I mean, like I love technology, but not because I love technology, I love how it can help. But it would be crazy to say that like technology is the only thing you should care about, right? Like you deal with real people, and so all those things still matter, right? Getting them to the event is great. When they show up to the event, one of the first things that should happen is someone from your community, your staff, your board, is there to say, hey, welcome. That simple act could have someone hooked for years. There's lots of those little things, but they asked me to come in and talk about tech because I know that stuff a little bit.
Now, doesn't Give More, when they make the donation on that day, already generate a thank you tax letter for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's the like tax receipt transaction because someone like they made a payment, so they have to get that sort of thing.
So then we don't have to duplicate that.
Yeah, you don't have to duplicate like a tax receipt type email, but I don't know if you're able to. I think that might be the only thing that comes out of the system. But again,
well, that's absolutely true.
I mean, you get their
I
contact
was going to
stuff.
say that's really true that Give More 24 does the legal requirement
Yeah.
of
The
giving the receipt,
transactional.
which is actually great because then it keeps the relational thing
Yeah.
with the organization and
Yeah.
that donor.
Yeah, tax receipts. You can talk to Give It More.
Give More.
Let's sort it out. You and me, we used to tell jokes and used to change the world together. Yeah.
You're brand new this year, and it was my first time last year. And I think within about a week or maybe a month, we had a list from Give More 24 of we probably only had 40 donors. If those 40 donors made a difference.
Don't say only.
Only. I
That's
know.
40 donors.
Yeah. I would like to see higher than that,
But then we can.
Yeah.
however, I took the time to handwrite our personalized thank yous, how much we gave. I don't think that was fair.
Perfect.
And we did have a little bit of matching funds, my business that that's so it's
Yeah.
kind of a personalized way of thanking you.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we love tech, we advocate for tech. I'll tell you right now, we probably send out somewhere between 20 and 30 handwritten notes at NTEN each month. Thank you for speaking. Thank you for just jumping in the community and sharing resources. We hear you got injured. We hope you get well soon. Like, yeah, all that stuff is equally important. Give me one more.
I was just going to say, you can actually log into the platform to see in real time who your donors are, unless they're anonymous, and then you can just send thank yous right away.
Yeah, was it right away? I remember doing it like in October.
Yeah, like I said, the welcome emails there, like, you want that thank you to come while they're still feeling warm and fuzzy to really hook that relationship. Thank you. You were champs. You made a 3-hour training. You just get like a little trophy or something.